All right, showtime.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks again for listening. Hello, hello, hello. You are listening to the Beauty and Us Radio right here on Awesome God Radio. I'm your host, Nelson E. Brown, and we have such an exciting show for you guys tonight. This is the last week on the Beauty and Us Radio where we will be celebrating Women's History Month. We've been celebrating Women's History Month throughout the entire month of March, and we have been able to highlight women who have done extraordinary things in their prospective careers and who have made their marks in several arenas and in various capacities. This week we have two guests this evening. We're going to talk a little bit about the fashion industry tonight, and we are going to have two guests this evening for the entire hour. Miss Christina Flach. Miss Christina Flach and Miss Kristen Johnson here with us tonight to talk about the work that they do in the fashion industry, just in different areas. But before we begin, I wanted to make a couple of announcements tonight. Since this is the last week that we're celebrating Women's History Month for the month of March on the Beauty and Us Radio, I want to talk a little bit about an author that I kind of grew up with and an author that I read her literature often growing up. Beverly Cleary, she passed away at the age of 104 years old this past week, and I grew up listening to her, watching her movies, reading her children's books, and she's made her mark in the field of literature for over 7 decades. So it's really, really amazing. And since this is Women's History Month, I wanted to talk a little bit about that because we all have that creative outlet. We are all good at something. So I think that creativity plays an important role into defining what your passions are. And even in the fashion industry, I know that has a lot to do with style and expressing yourself. And in the same way that literature, you're able to express yourself and you're able to use that creative outlet and use that creative muscle to your advantage. I know that the fashion industry, it has a wide variety of areas. I know that the fashion industry covers a wide variety of things, but I wanted to go down the line and I wanted to ask you guys, I wanted you guys to share with the listeners a little bit about what you do in the fashion industry. And because here on the Beauty and Us Radio, it's all about being authentic. It's all about, being real. It is all about expressing yourself, being creative, and using your passions, cultivating them, and sharing them with others, using your experiences and just a part of who you are in order to convey that through what you do. So, Ms. Flach, could you start and talk a little bit about the work that you do, in the fashion industry, and then we're going to go down to Kristen. So we're going to go down the line. So can you talk a little bit about the work that you do in the fashion industry and how that plays a role into creativity, expressing yourself, and how you've been able to establish a business and a career out of it?
That's a loaded question, isn't it? Thank you for having me on your show, first of all. I'm a celebrity makeup artist, and I'm very blessed to have agents that book me extraordinary jobs, that I get to work with fashion houses like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, or different celebrities, and Dana Perino, Tucker Carlson, Tyler Florence, different athletes. I've been able to do, I just did a show with Isaiah Washington for Fox, and I've been so blessed to have been able to create beauty through makeup in fashion. So what I do in fashion is I make, people come in their fashion, and I try and make them look like the best versions of themselves. And it's an amazing job, and I love it so much. And I love being able to have that creative outlet. I can see a face, and I can just instinctually know what I need to do to make them look as the best they can look. But I also, it's really important when you're one-on-one with people in such an intimate place, like their face, that they feel comfortable with you, and that they're comfortable and feeling good on the inside before they go out on the camera. It's a very intricate part of my job.
Yes, it is, and as I was reading your bio, I was so fascinated by the number of clients that you have had and the number of people that you've had the privilege to work with. Could you tell us a little bit about how you got started in your career as a makeup artist? Because I know that from what I've read and what I've learned from others, that being in the fashion industry is not a walk in the park. I know that it can be very, very challenging for a lot of people, and I know a lot of people can't handle the pressure of being in that industry, and just meeting all of the demands that people want and that people ask for, being told no all the time, being turned down for opportunities, and so where did you get your start, and how did you become so interested in becoming a makeup artist, and when did you decide to make a career out of that?
I started, working on friends and family. My mom had brain cancer since I was 8, and she was going out with my father one night, and I said, "Oh, Mom, let me help you do your makeup." And her skin had gotten blotchy, and she'd lost her hair, and so I didn't even know I had any makeup skills at all. I just started painting her face, and then miraculously she looked really great. But what was the best part of it was that she felt like her whole energy and vibe changed because she felt so good on the inside. I mean, she looked good, but it made her feel good on the inside. So that's part of, I love that. That's really a great part of my job. I started doing weddings, and then I am the CEO of Pretty Girl Makeup. And so I created my own line, and little by little, I don't know, I was in the San Francisco Chronicle. Excuse me, adjust my chair. I was in the San Francisco Chronicle. That's where I live in the Bay Area. And they did an article on my makeup company. And then I just submitted some work I did to get an agent, and I got signed by Ford in New York. And then I, got different agents, and I've just been very, very lucky to have created, I don't even know how it happened. It just did, but it was a lot of hard work, a lot of no's, but I just stayed focused and just kept doing my job, and learning how to interact with people. It's a hard job. It's kind of like, how actors are always, oh God, what if I don't get it? When's my next job? Like I get a job, and then I'm like, okay, when's my next one? And when am I going to get booked? And so I'm constantly, checking in with my agents and hoping that, one more job's going to come. And, you're always it's a weird job because it's not consistent. You could work every day, once a week. It's just, you've got to learn to go with the waves of it, of working. I was very blessed to do the show with Isaiah for Fox called Kitchen Talk, and that was like a series. So that's really the dream when you can get do. Next week I'm doing a commercial, 2-day commercial for Square. I have a magazine cover with ARP on Saturday. And then I'm going to start in June. Isaiah just told me that we're going to start filming again in LA, a second season of his show. So it's always nice to know that there's upcoming jobs, as it's always a relief.
Yes, and I can imagine, and I've heard, and from what I've read, and from what I've heard from others, is that I know that it can be pretty unpredictable working in this field because you're kind of thrown into situations where you just have to be prepared, and you kind of have to make adjustments to your clients' needs and what they want, all the time. And I know that everybody can't handle it. One show that used to be very, very popular that I watched all the time, where I kind of learned, a lot about the industry because, I've had friends who've had magazines, and they look at people in magazines and they look at it as such a beautiful thing, but they don't really know how much work that is involved with.
You would be so shocked, to do one episode of a TV show, it is 14 straight hours. And it's a lot. And even in the fashion industry, it's a lot of, I'll go work for like Gucci or Louis Vuitton, and they'll have me in a closet doing the makeup. And I laugh because I'm like, well, this is the glamorousness of being with here, but I'm so happy to be here. I'm so grateful. And it's fun though to, I'll get an email with the inspiration that they'll send from, Paris of how they want the model to look. And so that's always fun. It's such a great process of getting a face that's completely got nothing on it. And, there's discoloration, or like everyone has, even models, and how I can transform them to go out in front of the camera or on the catwalk. It's so fun, and it's a fast thing. You transform someone rather quickly, and to see that it's great. And then if you do a commercial or TV show, it's like a thrill to see your project on TV, or open a magazine and there's your work. It's really gratifying.
Yes, I can definitely imagine that. What I was going to say is that one TV show where I kind of learned all about this was America's Next Top Model. When I used to watch that growing up, and I learned a lot about like I was just looking at the models and just looking at all the stuff that they had to go through in order to, make that look perfect. Because some of the photographers and the people in that industry, some of them were really, really lenient about the type of work that they wanted to present, in their magazines or in their editorials and all of that. A lot of them were some of them were really, really strict about what they wanted, and they wanted a certain look. They wanted a certain feel for a specific type of person or a specific type of model. And I was, as I was watching this series, I learned the ins and outs about what that actually looked like. Because a lot of people think it's just about taking pretty pictures, and it's not just about taking pretty pictures. So what are some of the obstacles that you've had to face navigating your way through this industry in order to get to where you are now? Because they said that it can sometimes be very, very cutthroat in terms of people just saying no or not being interested in your work. Sometimes it's hard to not take it personal. When people say no, or when people turn you down for opportunities that you want and that you're working for. So what has that been like for you?
I think, I'm a mother. I have 5 children. And so I'm used to stressful, difficult situations with teenagers. And so it's really helped me dealing with different celebrities or different athletes, or, whoever my client happens, or brides, whoever my client happens to be. I can handle difficult people really, really well. I have a PhD in difficult. So when I'm dealing with that, it's I don't even care. I can usually woo them pretty easily, right? You have to connect with people and just be open, and you have to learn when to. Some people want to talk, some people don't want to talk, some people want to hear it. You have to gauge it, and you really have to do it in a normal amount of time. So I really try to just listen to them. I usually start with their hand. I put some aromatherapy oil, lavender on their hand, and just kind of, massage it and kind of connect with them and get them to trust you a bit. So a lot of people have a clear vision of how they want to look, and they're not comfortable with you changing it. So, a model is obviously not going to have that. That's their job. They're easily to just, you do whatever the client wants. But when you're dealing with a celebrity and they have a certain vision and they don't trust you, you kind of really have to listen to what exactly they want you to do, and you have to do it. It doesn't matter what I think. I may think what they want is ridiculous and is not going to look the best for them, but the important thing is for them to go in front of the camera feeling comfortable and confident. So I have to do whatever I have to do to make them feel and look like that. I hope that makes sense. It sounds a little.
It does, and I definitely understand. Sometimes I can understand what you mean when you say that some people just want a specific look, and they don't care about your input. They want a specific look, they want a specific style, and you have to
doing that. There's some women that they've been doing their makeup the same for 25 years. And if you deviate from that look, they feel so insecure and more uncomfortable, that they're distracted from what they need to be doing, and which is focusing on the camera. So that's why you really have to be sensitive to people's feelings.
Yes. And just like I was saying that, it takes a lot in order to, handle, people who are a lot pickier, because some people are pickier than others in terms of what they want and what they don't want. So I understand what you mean when you say that you have to, as a makeup artist, just do what the client wants, regardless of how you feel, or you may think one look is better than the other, or the one that they want. But again, it's about, you doing the service that, you were hired to do. And I understand what you mean, by that. So what is because I know that, being an entrepreneur and running this type of business is not a walk in the park. So what advice would you give to someone, or a young lady, or someone in general, who wants to invest in this type of business, or who wants to invest in the fashion industry, and who wants to become an entrepreneur? Because a lot of people, they don't look at the journey. They don't look at all of the obstacles. They just want to jump from A to Z, and they just want to make money, and they just want to be their own boss and just do their own stuff, without thinking about what the shortcomings may be, or what the obstacles may be in the process. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to be an entrepreneur and who wants to invest in this type of industry? It may not even be, just as a makeup artist, but just it's in some way or another contribute to the fashion industry. Because a lot of people, they look at TV and they, like I said, they want to jump from A to Z, and they don't think about all of the failures that come along with trying to get to where you want to be. So what advice would you give to them?
Well, first of all, I don't call them failures. I call them lessons. And it's interesting because my daughter, Melania, has started a fashion line called Ruja. And she studied in London at Central St. Martin University. She has a degree in, couture. And so she started her own line. So it's interesting that you asked me this question, because she and I had a conversation yesterday. She's working on a business plan to get investors for her company. And she asked to see my business plan that my partner, Jordan, and I have come up with for our investors. And it was so interesting that she was so, usually with a mother-daughter, it's like, oh, you don't know anything, you're really annoying. But she actually was, wow, oh my God, that's such a great idea. Let me look at your business. The way she looked at it was so different. And she felt like it really helped her. And I think it's really important to know you have to love what you do so much. And I've told my children this, like, figure out what you love doing. I have another daughter, Rose, who is a screenwriter, and Melania does fashion. So you have to love it so much that you would do it 7 days a week and not get paid. Because at first you don't really get paid. You just do it because you love it. And then hopefully, you work hard enough and you do a good enough job that you start getting paid. But you have to know that it's not instant gratification. I started my company in 1999. It was like 1,000 years ago. The world is a very different place. And I've had to kind of roll with the changes of it. And so it's kind of a nice balance for me having, being a CEO, but also being able to have the creative outlet of going on set and working with people. I love to meet people. I enjoy, the process of working as a team with the lighting, the stage, with everyone, and I really love that part of it. I think it balances out my life a lot, that I can, be in my office, like right now I'm in my office, but then I can go on set. And I think it makes me better as running my business, because I have that balance. I don't get stale. I don't get stuck. And I get to meet really interesting people that I learn a lot of things from, and that inspire me. I've met, I did Condoleezza Rice for, Time Magazine, and Hilary Swank. And, you learn a little bit from everyone you meet. And it doesn't even have to be famous people. It's like, could be a bride, or, a model I work with, or athletes. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a little advice that you learn. And that's really a fun part to do. But I think it's hard work, and not expect to get successful in 5 minutes. It's just not how it is.
Yes, absolutely. So before I move over to Kristen, and before we talk a little bit about the work that she does, where can people follow your work and what they do and what you do? And so how can people who want to reach out to you, or who want to connect with you and learn more about your business and what you do, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Pretty Girl Makeup is for my makeup line. And for my, makeup artistry, you can go to ChristinaFlach.com. I'm on Instagram as well for Pretty Girl. It's PrettyGirlMkup on Instagram, and Christina Flach Makeup on Instagram and Facebook.
Well, thanks again for being a part of my show. We're going to turn it over. Yes, we're going to turn it over to Kristen now. So Kristen, I already know about all the work you do, but because her and I already know each other. But could you tell the audience, the listeners, about the work that you do, because you cover a different arena of the fashion industry, which is personal styling, and a lot of people have a difficult time understanding what that exactly means. So could you talk a little bit about your business and how you got started with your company and what you do?
Yeah. So hi everybody. My name is Christen Johnson. I'm a personal stylist and I'm also a coach to aspiring stylists. So I started styling back in 2014. Literally just wanted to get into the industry. I started curating looks. I always dressed myself. Fashion was always something that I was into. And I started to branch out and start styling actual people aside from myself. And that really snowballed into me running my own personal styling business and also now coaching other stylists, helping them with their business, growing their businesses, and really teaching them the ropes of what it means to actually be a CEO stylist. That's what I call myself, because styling is more than just styling to me. It's definitely more than just putting clothes on someone. It's really all about the confidence piece. But also with you understanding that you can do so much more than just dress people. I do speaking engagements. I've done and facilitated workshops, and now I'm into coaching. So I do so much more than just dressing people. And that's something that I learned that I was able to do just throughout my journey and making those mistakes and really having those lessons, going through those lessons that Christina mentioned. So I love what I do. And as Christina mentioned, it's definitely important to really like love it and do it even if you don't get paid for it. It's something that I'm extremely passionate about. And it wasn't always this like, fun, enjoyable experience. I go through and have gone through so many situations where I heard so many no's and, people like taking advantage of me and my time. So I'm now happy to be able to really start seeing those seeds that I've planted just grow into just amazing opportunities. So that is me.
Yes, and like I said, you cover a different arena of fashion, which is personal styling. And so, could you tell us a little bit about what your day could look like? I mean, I know that since you're your own boss, like your days, like you get up, you sometimes have a job one day, you may not have a job another day, but what does your day look like in terms of how you build your clientele and how you find work for other people and how you go about that process? Because I know that it doesn't come from just you waiting on opportunities. You kind of have to go after what you want in this industry. So what does your day look like in terms of what you do for your company?
Yeah, so it's not all unicorns and rainbows. I sit behind the computer every single day, staring at my screen as if I was working at a 9 to 5. This is actually my second time going full time. I went full time in 2019, and I honestly and truly was not fully prepared financially and mentally. So I ended up going back to work. But I worked with other companies as a stylist, so Trunk Club, Amazon, Under Armour. And I've learned from those experiences, and every single thing that I've learned from them, I put into my business. So I do a lot of email marketing. I do a lot of social media posting, creating content, reaching out to potential clients. I'm not necessarily styling all day unless I have a client that I'm working with, but I literally do everything at this point in time. I am working on building a team, but I literally just sit behind my computer. It's all admin work, which I enjoy doing. It's weird, but I love doing, sending emails and creating templates and, really keeping my audience engaged offline. And then I get online and I also, post myself and educate, my audience on what it is that I do as a personal stylist, but also what I do as a coach. So it's a bunch of administrative work until I'm actually working with a client. My styling business is completely virtual. So I'm not meeting people in person. I'm not dressing people physically. I'm really providing a unique experience that is all virtual. So I'm talking, I'm doing Zoom meetings, Zoom calls, curating lookbooks, creating shopping videos for my clients as well. So I use a lot of tools. I'm very tech savvy. So everything that I do is literally like some type of app or tool that I've invested in to really make my business easier on me. So I love it though.
Yes, and it's definitely good to hear, especially as someone who's young starting out in the business, because there are a lot of people, like I said, before, that they look at TV, they look at different media outlets, and they aspire to be these people. They look at many of the successful fashion designers and people in that industry, and they look at all of the money they make, and they just think that it's just going to happen in a snap of a finger because it's what they see on TV, and they aspire to do this, but they don't, like I said, they don't understand the amount of time it takes in order to invest into this field, because a lot of people, like you said, you both were saying that you've had a lot of people that have told you guys no, for opportunities that you may have wanted. But what advice, Kristen, would you give to people, or people who want to start a business in the fashion industry? And it doesn't have to be personal styling. It could be in any arena. Even if they just wanted to be a model, for instance, or if they just wanted to design clothes, or, like I said, just any form of fashion. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs who are just starting out, and who want to build their business? So what advice would you give them?
I would really say it's all about your mindset and really having a positive mindset. I didn't always have a positive mindset. There were times where I didn't feel like I was good enough. I wasn't confident in my abilities. I felt like nobody was going to invest in me. And once I realized that I had everything that I needed to really be successful, and once I realized that, I didn't really need anything more, that, I was good to go, understanding that the opportunities that come your way are either for you or not for you. And there were times where I would force certain things because I thought they were for me. And then later realizing that they weren't the opportunity that was for me in the first place. So understanding that as well, that a lot of those obstacles and challenges that come your way are just learning opportunities for you to take. You can be upset, you can be sad about it. I cried all the time. Sometimes I still do because I'm stressed. But I've learned so much from those challenges, and I've turned them into different opportunities. A lot of the challenges that I went through as a business owner really led to me doing things that have helped my business, honestly and truly. So just really having a clear mindset, understanding that, any opportunity that's for you will be for you, and it'll easily come to you. And there's no need to really force anything that, is not necessarily for you. And just understanding that you're going to be okay, regardless of what's happening and what's going on and what your current circumstances look like. I'm definitely not where I want to be right now, but I'm okay. I'm alive. I'm breathing, and I'm still moving forward. My persistence level is very high. I'm constantly figuring out or trying to figure out what to do next. How I can make my situation better, and just being positive. And it helps to have a community around you, a community of people who think positively, and that their positive thinking will rub off on you and really just motivate you to keep going, regardless of what, your current circumstances look like. So having a really clear mindset, and also having a community of people who can relate to you and or who you can learn from.
Yes, and that is very important, and it is important for people. Well, for people to have a community, like you said, of people who understand your vision and who support your dream, because oftentimes people don't understand where you want to go. They don't really understand your vision. They may not understand what your dream is, and a lot of people, they may not understand it. They may not be open to it, and sometimes it can be very discouraging when you feel as though nobody is being supportive and encouraging in the process. I know that Baltimore is not necessarily considered to be a fashion city. We have a lot of entrepreneurs here, but fashion is not necessarily something that is really, really showcased a lot in this city. So could you tell me a little bit about some of the projects that you've been working on lately, and some of the upcoming projects you have, even under the circumstances with COVID-19? I know that you said that you're doing everything virtually now. But have you made any provisions in place to kind of ease your way back into styling people in person, or what does that look like now?
Yeah, so I don't think I'll be going back in person anytime soon. I love the virtual aspect of just, really helping people online. That way I'm able to reach people who don't live in the Baltimore area, people who live in other countries, and just being able to like expand my network. So being virtual has been great for me. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people don't really enjoy being styled virtually. Some people want someone to be in person, but because I have that mindset that I have now, they're just not my client. So I just don't work with them, and that's okay. I'll refer them to someone else. I'm learning, I have learned, and I'm still learning to not really switch up my process for certain people and really just sticking to what I've been doing and sticking to what my vision and my mission is all about. And that's really just to help women really feel confident in their body shapes. That's what I primarily focus on as a personal stylist. And if I can do it virtually, why not just keep doing it, virtually? I literally love it. Um, there was something else that I was going to mention. Oh, the city of Baltimore. So being from a smaller city that's not necessarily the fashion capital has kind of increased my endurance. I've literally created so many opportunities for myself and really pushed myself out of my comfort zone. So because there aren't many stylists here, because there aren't many people here that do what I do, I have to make sure that when I do meet someone or I do come in contact with a potential client, that I'm extremely professional. The quality of the service is there, and I just make sure that they remember me as someone that can, help them or has helped them. I hosted a lot of events to get my name out there. I've collaborated with other industry experts to really get my name out there. I've started organizations and started businesses just to get my name out there and just to get people to know who I am. And clearly, it's working, but a lot of people by now would have given up. There were so many times where I wanted to stop, or so many times where I wanted to just go get a job. And I'm so happy that I didn't. I'm so happy that I stuck to what I wanted to do and my vision and my mission, because it eventually pays off. So being from Baltimore has been like a bittersweet type of, situation. Of course, I want to go to LA and New York and, those bigger cities. But if I'm not able to really build a strong foundation where I'm from, then how can I survive in those other bigger cities with even more competition? So for me, I've just really been staying focused on myself, and creating my own opportunities. So I know you asked some of the projects that I'm working on right now. I actually am working on a subscription service for my styling business. I have a membership for my styling organization, which is awesome. So I said to myself, if I can do that for them, I can do it for my styling business too. I just launched an ebook for my membership for stylists today. So that was a lot, but I'm glad it's done. And what else am I working on? I host events, virtual events every month for my stylist community, just to keep them updated with like different resources and different tools and information that I've been learning along the way. But I'm really just trying to focus more so now on getting my styling business to be a little bit more as to where I want it to be. I've spent a lot of time for the past, I want to say, year, just focusing on helping stylists, and I kind of shied away from the the why, or the main reason why I even started doing this. And I love helping stylists. I'm very passionate about it. But for me, I feel like if I'm helping someone to start a styling business, my styling business needs to still be running. So I'm just really trying to get back to focus on my styling business and really start, doing something different. So that subscription service for my styling business will be that thing that brings it back to life. So yeah, that was a lot.
Yes, and it is. I mean, both of you guys are doing such amazing things. Kristen, how can people get in touch with you if they want to work with you and learn more about your company in which you do, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so my website, sophisticatedchicbrand.com, and that's chic, CHIC, brand, BRAND.com. You can also find me on Instagram at SoChicChris, SoChicChris. And of course, LinkedIn, Christen Johnson. I'm always on LinkedIn, so you'll find me there as well.
Well, that is, and this is such an amazing opportunity for you guys. I wanted to go back to Miss Christina for a minute to talk a little bit about a question that I don't think I covered. So I know that you said that you started your business in 1999, from my understanding, right?
Yes.
You started, and that was the year I was born. So,
God,
yes, yes. So you started your business in 1999. So who have been your mentors and your influencers throughout the course of the years? Because I know that you can't, it's nearly impossible to accomplish all of this stuff on your own and just by yourself. I know that you need people in this field and you need mentors in order to help you, get to the next level. And I know that oftentimes people, they are very reluctant about putting their pride to the side, and they want to do everything on their own, and they don't want to look like, they're helpless if they don't do everything on their own and if they're not solely, independent. So who are some of the people, some of the mentors and influencers who've inspired you to kind of keep going and who've inspired you to pursue this more? Who are those people and how have they left their mark on you in your career and in your life?
It's so interesting because a lot of my clients that are other CEOs have inspired me. Kara Golden, she's the CEO of Hint Water. She's my client. I've worked for her a long time, but she's taught, I've, been there with her during her interviews and how she runs her business. Tyler Florence, he's a celebrity chef. He one time told me, if he asked how my company was, and I said, oh my gosh, it's so much time and money and effort. And he said, if people knew how hard it was, no one would do anything. So it's better you don't know and you just do it. And I agree with Kristen. Like it's really important to have a positive attitude. People want to work with you when you're positive. If you weren't difficult and demanding and you were pleasant, having a good attitude is literally everything. And I think I've learned, I can't even tell you, I learned from the CFO of Google, believe it or not, gave me like the best blow drying tip. Like, the most random people that you wouldn't think would teach you something have taught me something. So I would say that everyone that has gotten into my chair, man or woman or child, has taught me a little something. And it could be about makeup. It could be about life. It could be about business. I think if you're open to people, you can learn something from everyone. And that's the beauty of life and beauty of what we do is being able to have these experiences with people. And, I was just listening to Kristen. I mean, I just agreed, like how much hard work that you put into your business and how you found your niche and, that you continue doing it and you're trying to expand it and how look how you've grown as a person, even with how you said your attitude is, I really was inspired by your story, and it's wonderful to have this no one did this sort of thing 5 years ago, 6 years ago, these conversations, these interviews. And that's been a really neat thing to be a part of, is having the opportunity to meet so many different people that I do interviews with, but, like Kristen, that is in my industry and in a different form of it. But, I work with stylists all the time. So I think it's really great.
Yes, it is really great because I know that, even though you guys are the boss and you guys are bosses and you guys own your own businesses, everybody has to listen to somebody and somebody's being led by somebody. Even if you are the CEO of your own company, you are being led by somebody. So that's why I wanted to come back to that question a little bit. And I also wanted to ask Kristen, because I don't think I asked her this before, but Kristen, who are some of your influencers and some of your mentors? Because I know that oftentimes people, when you're the CEO, when you're the boss, a lot of people come to you for answers. And a lot of people depend on you for a lot of things. And sometimes you may not have the answers to things that people are requesting or people are asking of you. And, people are, looking up to you and looking at you as the kind of like that role model and representation when you are the boss and when you are the CEO. But sometimes, it's okay for, and a lot of people don't like to admit that, they may not know something, or they need help in certain areas. So who are some of your mentors and people who have helped you get to where you are today? Because I know that sometimes it can, the pressure of being the boss can sometimes be very overwhelming, especially when everybody looks to you for everything. But we're all being led by somebody, and we're all leading somebody. So that's why I think that that's important to ask, because because you cannot lead if you can't listen. So you have to be open, like she said, to listening to other people and their input. So who are the people who have inspired you and who have mentored you in this process?
Yeah, so I didn't really have any mentors, honestly. I will say that I've invested in other coaches, so other industry experts who know the things that I'm not that good at. And I used to think that I knew everything, and I realized that I didn't. And I invested in, just last year, a marketing coach who has definitely been inspiring me. She's another Black woman who has been doing amazing work in the industry of marketing. She too left her corporate job and started her coaching business. And she's now helping other service based providers and even product based providers or product based business owners who are Christians run their businesses, and really teaching them about faith and, focusing in on your passion and your purpose. And she has been someone who has really helped me in my business within the past couple of months. But even just investing in other women who look like me, who are in the fashion industry as well, to just get an idea of what they think, I could do, or get a different perspective on the industry of styling. And even different boutique owners and people who aren't stylists at all, to really just give me an unbiased opinion about what they think I should be doing or how I could be conducting business. I went to school for business, but I still don't know everything, especially in the industry of fashion. It's an industry that's I like to call non-conventional or unconventional, if that's the right word. There are really no like right or wrong things that you can do. You just do what works for you, and you take it and run with it. Of course, there are some business, principles that you want to follow, but business isn't the top of mind as a fashion industry expert. Like, it's all about being creative, even in the beauty industry. So learning business and really focusing in on business has been something that I've been, just teaching myself more about and investing more time in. Because if you don't have a strong business foundation with what you're passionate about, then it probably won't go as far as you want it to. You can love styling, love doing makeup all day, but if you don't have like the business help or even just a strong foundation, you won't last at all. And that's what I think a lot of people are now realizing, coming or going through the pandemic, and realizing like, okay, yeah, I mean, I can't meet people in person, so now what do I do? It's like, you gotta pivot, you gotta move, you gotta think like a business owner, which a lot of people weren't doing before, but now they are. So I love to see that. So yeah, not too many mentors, more so just people that I've invested in to help me.
I think that's true. You just have to like have plan A, B, and C, and I think it's really important. If you can like put your, when you could put your ego aside and you can just think like, oh my gosh, I can learn something interesting or something beneficial for my business. Like, how lucky am I to have all these CEOs in my chair that I can ask? I've got an hour with them and I can ask them all these questions about stuff that you don't get handed, as you know, a CEO book. You just start little by little doing it, and it gets bigger and bigger, and you just don't even know. But having the opportunity to speak with, people in my industry, it doesn't even matter what industry, just people that are doing business. You're absolutely right, Kristen, because I could be the best makeup artist in the world, but I have to know how to run this company. and figure out who I need on my team that it's going to be really effective. You know, I can't do, and knowing, being able to relinquish power of like, I can't do everything, I'm not great at everything, and finding out who is great. That is the most important thing, I think. Being a CEO is figuring out who you need to get on your team to do the best job for your company to succeed.
Yeah, because we cannot do everything. And it took me years to realize that. I'm like, I can't do all of this.
But didn't everything change when she did? Like,
Exactly.
how much easier is it? It's not.
Yeah. I mean, and I've taught myself so much by doing everything, but you won't necessarily be able to scale. Like, I can't go any further if I'm trying to do everything by myself.
Right.
So, yeah, it's definitely a hard.
Better, right? Like,
yeah.
Marketing
Exactly.
or the social media. Like, you know, you can do if you wanted to get it to a higher level, you need to get people that really specialize in that, in marketing, in social media, in, you know, running, you know, my business partner, like, he does all that stuff that I am not confident in doing. Jordan is amazing and he does all that stuff. And, you know, I'm so grateful that I found a partner that can take my company to the next level, because it's not, if you don't let people in, it's not going to grow, and you're not going to get better.
Exactly.
So, one of my last questions that I wanted to ask both of you guys was, where do you guys see yourselves like 5 to 10 years from now, you know, with your business? And my second to last question is, if you would you do anything differently between when you started and where you are now? So, anybody's free to, you know, chime in.
We're like, you can go first.
You go. I'll interrupt, but you go.
Where do I see myself? So I definitely see myself having a team by the end of the year, honestly. I just spoke with a virtual assistant today, so I'm excited about that. I definitely want to be able to have a space for my clients to come in to really, you know, talk and get dressed and take professional photos for their businesses and all of those things. And also a space for stylists to come and learn and really grow in business. I want to be able to have a directory of people who I can refer stylists to, and also refer my styling clients to. That's something that I'm working on right now. And really just having that network of people to tap into when need be. And making sure that I keep up with those people and not just, you know, connecting with someone once and kind of just forgetting about them. You know, really keeping in contact with people and being able to, you know, build my network and my business that way. Because it's really all about who you know, honestly and truly. You know, I love investing in others and really being able to, you know, give them a platform to speak about their business and to learn from others and all that good stuff. So really just being a resource, honestly, to anybody that I come in contact with regarding, you know, styling or fashion.
So where am I going to be in 5 to 10 years? That is a really interesting question. You know, I could probably predict what I would like it to be, but it could end up being somewhere completely different. So I'm going to probably be in 5 to 10 years where I'm supposed to be. I guess that's the thing. Hopefully my children are all healthy and happy, and my company is, you know, incredibly successful, and I have balance in my life. I would love to have a farm with my horse and, you know, other animals and garden. I just, in 5 to 10 years, I just want to continue being positive and happy and having a lot of love in my life.
Yes. My last question was, would you guys do anything differently between when you started and now, where you are now?
Yeah, I probably would not have left my job sooner than later. I feel like so many people nowadays are so like ready to be full-time entrepreneurs, but they have no idea what it takes to even run a business. And they don't realize that their 9 to 5 is actually the perfect investor for their business. Like if you're making money consistently, put that where you want it to go. well, I will say that I don't regret leaving my job, but I would have been a lot smarter when I did have my jobs when it comes to the money that I was making,
You
and really
wouldn't know
putting it in
that until you did
places.
it, right? I mean, you couldn't know that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known that. I just started learning about like stocks and things like last year. So I wouldn't have known about that. And investing, I wouldn't have known about that, anything like that. But I wish I would have known it a while ago because I feel like I would probably be a lot richer right now. But other than that, that's about it.
I think I did the best I could do, you know, raising my kids and everything. And, you know, I feel like I worked really hard. I don't know what I would do differently, honestly. I probably would have gotten investors sooner instead of just putting in all my own money. I've been self-funded all this time. And, you know, that's a lot of responsibility and a lot of pressure. Not that having other people's money isn't a lot of pressure as well, but I probably could have gotten a lot bigger, a lot sooner if I would have done that instead of just kind of going along doing it with my own money. So I would have definitely gotten capital at an earlier point.
Yes, well, it's a little early, but I would like to thank you guys again for being a part of my broadcast. You've definitely given me a lot of great insight, and you definitely have educated me on different, um, different parts of the fashion industry and what they entail. Like I said, you know, just watching America's Next Top Model, you know that only gave me a glimpse of what you guys do, you know, every day in terms of people in the field between stylists, makeup artists, and people who try to bring exercise their creative muscle to their advantage, and they do their best in order to make the client happy. And I see that you guys are really, really passionate about what you do in different arenas, and you guys have been able to cultivate that, and you guys have been able to inspire others in the process, which is something that I think is honorable, especially, you know, for Women's History Month, since this is the first time, you know, that Women's History Month has been celebrated on the Beauty and Us radio, and you guys have been my first guests from the fashion industry. So I appreciate you guys for taking time out of your days and out of your schedules to come and chat with me about it. And I know that the listeners have definitely enjoyed this, and I'll definitely follow up with you guys, and I'll definitely keep in touch about what you guys are doing. You guys are doing amazing work, you know, and you guys are doing so many awesome things. So I appreciate you guys, and I just wanted to say that to you guys before I let you go for the evening. So thanks again, and I'll definitely keep in touch with both of you guys about everything. Hopefully, we can all continue to stay healthy and move forward throughout the pandemic, because it's created a lot of challenges for. I know that a lot of business owners have, you know, they've taken a hit in the process, like throughout this past year that we've been in this pandemic. But you guys have still been able to persevere through all of the challenges as entrepreneurs and as business owners. So I think that that's something that should be applauded for. So thanks again for hopping on and chatting with me.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Nelson. This was fun.
Super fun.
Yes, yes, I'll definitely keep in touch with you guys about what you're doing in the future, and I'll definitely have you guys on again to talk about, you know, what you're doing. So I just wanted to say that before I let you go.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to close I'm just going to close everybody out, you know, of the show. So you guys are free to, you know, go, and I'll talk to you guys again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, sweets.
Okay, so that is it for the Beauty and Us radio right here on Awesome God Radio. I am very glad that you guys have had the opportunity to come and to sit down tonight. It was a very, very informative discussion. I learned a lot about the fashion industry throughout this entire show, even just from talking to the two of them. But could you just imagine how many people have that creative muscle and have that creative outlet? And can you really just imagine how many people have that talent and that knack for taking something that they love and making it into something great, and even creating a business out of it? So it's just, I've heard really, really great, these are really, really, really great ladies. And again, we want to celebrate Women's History Month for the last week of the show. And again, like I said in the beginning of the broadcast briefly, Beverly Cleary was a world famous author. She passed away last week at the age of 104. And my second grade teacher read her books to us all of the time. I followed her work as an author, as an award-winning author throughout the years, and she spent 7 decades in the career, in her career, and within the publishing industry. So she's written for children for generations. So she's helped generations of kids, and she's taught generations of kids, and she's definitely used her creative muscles to her advantage to write stories and to be authentic and powerful with her experiences and incorporating that into what she did. And that's something that is definitely honorable. And again, the fashion industry, I've learned a lot about it. And I've definitely learned a lot more than what I just saw on America's Next Top Models. So again, I want to appreciate you guys for tuning in. Next month is the month of April. So in the month of April, we're going to be having one of our guests from before. Her name is Miss Naija Howard. She was on at the very, very beginning of this month, but we are going to do a part 2. I had a conversation with her last week, and she's willing to do a part 2 of her lesson that she taught earlier this month about the work that she did for single moms and single Black moms in particular. So I'm excited to have her on for the next week, for the hour. So make an appointment to meet me back here Tuesday, April 6th. So Tuesday, April 6th from 6 to 7 p.m. Make an appointment to meet me back here on Awesome God Radio. Again, this is the Beauty in Us Radio right here on Awesome God Radio. I appreciate you all for tuning in each and every week. I don't take any of you guys for granted. I love you and I appreciate all of you guys. I definitely thank you guys for all of your prayers and all of your support, because you guys, if you don't know, I just want you guys to know that, it's been a really, really challenging time for me personally and professionally, trying to get everything situated on my end in order to move forward. So I appreciate your prayers and I appreciate your support and encouragement. Each and every week in my therapy sessions, I've been able to unpack a lot of the issues that I've been struggling with and why it's been so dark and gloomy for me throughout the course of the past several months. But I definitely see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I definitely appreciate you guys for, again, supporting me in my work and just being there for me and being supportive. I don't take any of it for granted. So I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next week. So again, make an appointment to meet me back here next Tuesday, April 6th from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on Awesome God Radio. This is the Beauty in Us Radio. My name is Nelson E. Brown, and I will see you next week. Again, wash your hands, wear your mask, don't be disgusting, keep your distance, and I'll see you guys next week.